This is me, and this is a giant volcano. I am going to be attempting to survive the next 100 days here, in hardcore Minecraft. Yeah, that's right, inside this volcano. This won't be a walk in the park. I have a few tasks that I must complete before the 100 days is up, and they are to kill the Blackstone Golem, the keeper of this volcano, and to obtain a full set of Gilded Netherite armor. This won't be easy, so I hope you come with me on this journey to see what happens. Before this video starts, I wanted to let you guys know that I have been working on something huge, a Minecraft server. This will be releasing very soon, but in the meantime, go down below in the description and join the Discord. This would mean the world to me, and make sure that you guys stay updated. Also, only a small percentage of you guys who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so hit that sub button if you do enjoy these videos and want to help me out. Now let's get into the 100 days. On day 1, I started looking around my spawn. I am above a volcano. I looked inside and wow, this thing is massive and pretty terrifying. I could see to the bottom of it, and it doesn't look super inviting. I ran around the edge of the volcano looking for a sign of life, and then I found a chest. I looked inside and quickly grabbed this map before I saw this terrifying looking skeleton. I needed to defend myself. I tried to fight him off, but I didn't have any weapons, and this guy had a lot of health and a sharp pointy stick. So I just hit him off the top of the volcano and looked at the map. This map showed me just how massive this volcano really is, and it looks like there is land surrounding it. There's so much to explore here. Then I noticed more of these skeletons, but ran off. As I was running away, I found a chicken egg that I grabbed. I definitely am going to need to set up some food farms, and this is a pretty good start. Then I grabbed some wood and got some basics together. You know, the good old wooden pickaxe. I saw this cave entrance and headed inside, but I had to fight off more of this skeleton army, and took quite a lot of damage. Not a great start to my journey in this volcano. I also came across my first bit of lava. But don't worry, I was fine. I decided to cook up some of these pork chops I had, and while I was setting up my furnace, another skeleton attacked me. I lost way too much health, but I survived. I ate some pork chops and even smelted some iron that I grabbed, which I then used to craft a helmet and a chest plate. Then I saw another chicken. The first thing I could think of was to trap him in a hole so I can get more eggs and create a farm. But this chicken was, let's just say, different. He started running up the volcano away from me, and there was no trapping him. Come on, you darn chicken. I decided to continue down the volcano and grabbed some wood from these beams, and there were plenty of mobs to fight along the way. I kept my eyes peeled for any food source. The best thing I could get my hands on for now were these berries, but it's better than nothing. I also made sure to grab all the coal and iron I could find. Then I found this deep cave. I started to head inside and was met by quite a few mobs. I really thought this creeper was gonna blow me up, but I turned out okay. How great would it be if I found diamonds right about now? I looked around, but all I found were creepers. Sadly, no diamonds. I decided to smelt up some more iron I was able to grab and use that to make some iron leggings. And I also made an iron axe and pickaxe. Then I continued traveling through the volcano. I grabbed as many resources as possible and was super curious what could be at the bottom of this volcano, besides lava, of course. I was met by a bit of lava parkour, and of course I hopped through it perfectly. But then I was met by more of these tribal skeletons, which I fought off with my new iron axe. Then I saw something a little strange. As I looked down the path, there was a blockage made up of cobwebs. I couldn't see what was on the other side. Pretty spooky, right? I crafted myself a sword to break through the cobwebs easier, and this gave me a ton of string. When I got to the other side, I found a chest, just sitting out in the open. I opened it and inside was something super valuable, a single oak sapling. This is huge. I may be able to have a supply of wood now. I continued traveling down, and I could see the bottom of the volcano from where I was. This is starting to look super dangerous. Not very homey for where I'm going to be living for the next 100 days. Oh, and keep in mind I really can't mess up here, or else I lose this world. I saw another chest in the middle of the volcano. I just got a sapling from the other chest. There must be something good in this one. Plus, it's in a dangerous location, so the loot must be a higher tier. I grabbed a ton of these blocks from the volcano and started carefully bridging out to the chest. I had to be really careful here. One wrong move and I am toast. Literally. I eventually reached the chest, and the loot inside was pretty good. I got myself this dark helmet, some golden carrots, and even these upgraded cores. I think I read somewhere that these can upgrade my armor sets. I'll have to experience with them later on. But for now, I put on my new helmet and continued traveling down the volcano. At this point, I also had a pretty stable supply of berries. And if things couldn't get any weirder, I found a random sheep pen. I got really excited and headed straight over to it. And then a creeper snuck up on me and blew up the pen, and all of the sheep got loose. Just my luck. I really tried my best to get them back into the pen, but the idea of freedom seemed too enticing to them and they decided to go out on their own. I was, however, able to trap 2 of them back into a small pen. And the best part is, one of them is pink. Comment pink sheep if you're still watching the video. Well, I decided this would be a good time to start setting up a base. I started mining a cubby into the wall of the volcano and broke out to the other side. I even added these spruce trap doors for the roof. Then I grabbed some dirt to set up a farm. Wheat is essential to staying alive. I can use it to breed my sheep and make bread. So with the seeds I had, I put together a small makeshift wheat farm. Then I planted my most valuable asset, the sapling. The hope is for this thing to grow and provide me with more saplings so I can continue growing trees. I also spent a bit of time fixing up the damage that the creeper did. Then I went hunting for all the sheep I had lost earlier. I got loads of mutton and wool from this, which is fantastic. And while I was killing all these sheep, I found another chest. I opened it and got a few good things. Some apples, a glaive, and this weird block that apparently is pretty important. I was excited to use my new weapon and used it on the rest of the sheep. I gotta say, this thing is pretty powerful, and it gives me some reach on enemies. I grabbed some extra iron and headed back to my camp. Wow, I did not see myself living in a volcano anytime soon. I just realized how dangerous this is. If this thing erupts, I don't stand a chance. After getting a little lost, I made it back to my setup and noticed my tree had grown. I chopped it down and was hoping for some saplings, but none were falling. Eventually, I did get not 1, but 2 saplings from this tree. Thank goodness, now I can replant them and get more wood. I decided to cook up some of the mutton and iron I had gotten, and then I realized how much of a hazard my base is for someone like me. So I extended the balcony a bit, and then I crafted myself some fences and fenced myself in. I also crafted a bed and tried making my place look a little more homey, but it's pretty tough when you live in a volcano. Then I put together a small chicken pen. I had 2 eggs that I was able to get earlier and was feeling lucky enough to hatch them. But yeah, I never have good luck and neither egg gave me a chicken. I spent some time doing some random but necessary tasks and then did some exploring. Although I was almost at the bottom of the volcano, there was a lot I hadn't explored yet. But it didn't take long at all to find some new friends. These giant green scary creatures emerged out of nowhere. I knew I had to defend myself, so that's what I did. And this creeper helped me out as well. These guys are called orcs, and they dropped orc skin. As I continued down the cavern, there were a lot more orcs. I killed them off pretty easily. They don't do much damage. And then I headed back to my base. I decided I needed some better gear, so I went deep into a cave to go mining. I got some basic necessities like coal and iron and searched around for some diamonds. I found a pool of lava and sure enough, there was a nice vein of diamonds right next to it. I went straight over to them and was able to get a total of 6 diamonds. I continued mining and found another vein of diamonds just sitting there. I now have a total of 12 diamonds. I did stay in the cave for a bit longer to get some iron and coal. You can never have enough of these 2 items, and since I can't really make an auto iron farm in this volcano, it's important that I get it in the mines while I'm here. I came back up to where my base is and noticed some weird creatures heading towards me. There were too many of them to handle and I was taking some serious damage. I literally was mashing my keyboard together in a panicked frenzy. But I backed away and ate some mutton to regain health and slowly fought off these scary golems one by one. I got down to half a heart and ran away as quickly as possible. This was terrifying, I was so close to dying, and these guys weren't giving up yet. I continued killing the small golems and headed back up to where I was. At this point, the glaive was almost broken and I was pretty shaken up from the near-death encounter. Then I noticed the boss bar at the top of my screen. There is a Blackstone Golem boss somewhere, and I wanted to see what it was. So I started doing some parkour across the bottom of the volcano and saw a ginormous version of the small golems I had just been fighting. I decided not to worry about this for now and ran away. I made it back to my base and used some diamonds to craft a sword and some armor. Then I made myself some new iron tools and a bow. I grabbed all I could think of to help me in this fight: food, a bow, arrows, and plenty of blocks. Then I headed back over to the den of the golem and started shooting him with my bow. I wasn't really sure what to expect here. I've never come across one of these guys before. Luckily for me, the bow did a decent amount of damage, but I quickly ran out of arrows. So I backed off a bit and grabbed these diamonds instead. Then I went back to my base to collect myself. I was nowhere near powerful enough to fight this thing. So I crafted a diamond pickaxe and decided to do some mining instead. I headed back to where I had found my first diamonds and grabbed some obsidian, just enough to make a nether portal. Then I went back to my base, crafted the portal, and into the nether I went. I made sure to take note of my cords of my portal and started mining through the walls of the nether. It took me a while, but when I finally came out, I was in this terrible biome. Yeah, the nether isn't very welcoming. I fought off this giant magma and started bridging across this lake of lava. I was lucky to have a lot of blocks from mining through the nether for so long. When I made it to the other side, I saw this pigman riding a strider and decided to kill him and steal his saddle. Then I almost died to this magma who just wouldn't stop following me. I eventually made it away and started searching for a fortress. I didn't have much luck though, so I spent some time trading with piglins and got some decent loot. Then I started running through the nether again, and after running for a while, I found this weird looking blaze monster. It wasn't too hard to kill, but sadly didn't drop any blaze rods. But later on, I did kill another one and got a blaze rod. After hanging out in the nether for long enough, I decided to make my way back to the portal. Eventually, I did make it back to my base. I dropped my items off and did a bit of exploring. Like I said, this volcano is huge, and I haven't even seen most of it. I quickly came across some cows, which I really wanted to trap in a pen. I ran back to my chest and grabbed some cobblestone walls and some wheat, and I lured the cows back to my base. Now I can get leather. But I noticed some unfamiliar visitors around my camp. I don't know what these are, and I didn't know if I could handle them. It seemed like they were summoning in a skeleton army. They were super easy to kill though. The next day I spent some time mining coal. Believe it or not, I was running kind of low. Then I spent a little time searching for diamonds. I'd really like to have a full set of diamond armor before I go fight this golem. I was mining for a really long time and got myself a pretty fair amount of diamonds. This should last me a long time. I went back to my base and expanded my chest storage. I'm always running out of storage because I never organize. Then I crafted the rest of my diamond armor set and spent the rest of the day doing some light farming. And I made sure to craft myself a full set of diamond tools. I think now I'm finally starting to feel prepared enough to fight the golem. But I am missing just one thing: enchants. I made myself an enchant table and got myself the best enchants possible. Of course I couldn't get any level 30 enchants because I don't have any bookshelves, but this should do for now. I got mostly prot 1 on all of my armor pieces and sharpness 1 for my sword. Now it is time to head back over to the golem. Honestly, I don't really know what this thing drops when I kill him. It could be something really OP. I had more arrows this time and got some decent shots on him, doing quite a bit of damage. And then I was shot with a blackstone block and got a ton of negative effects, including hunger and blindness. Oh, and yes, I was out of arrows. That meant I had to go over to the golem and start hitting him with my sword. I carefully climbed over and got some hits on him. I was about to kill him when all of a sudden, I was flung up into the air. Thankfully, I wasn't knocked into lava, but I did take a bit of damage from this. Then the golem turned blue, and I started getting some good hits on him when I accidentally fell inside of his cage. If I get flung up by him, I am so dead. Also, what happens if I fall in lava? Thoughts were running through my head as I tried to get away from him. Then he flung me into lava, my worst fear. Luckily for me, I did have a water bucket that saved my life. The water stream was pushing away the golem enough for me to get away. Then I hit him a few times more with my sword, and he was defeated. Oh, but he did spawn these 2 pesky annoying golems that almost killed me as well. These little guys are just as powerful as the big golem. From killing him, I got 2 ancient debris, a Blackstone Golem heart, and a Blackstone fragment. Pretty cool. The first thing I did was grab all of these bookshelves and the enchant table. Then I looked around his den and found a ton of treasure. There were new weapons, diamonds, golden blocks, and more. I mean, just look at some of these weapons I got. I was overwhelmed with excitement on all the treasure I was finding. I even got an enchanted golden apple and some potatoes to plant back at my base. Gosh, you know survival is hard when I'm this excited over potatoes. After getting all of the amazing loot that was in there, I headed back up to my base. I went right to sleep, and the next morning I spent a while going through my new items and organizing. I had gotten this really cool new fire axe that I am obsessed with. I mean, just look how cool it looks. I also found out what to do with this golem heart. I was able to craft this new arm attachment that shoots Blackstone at enemies. I tried this out on my poor sheep, and, well, I feel really bad for him. I went back down into the golem's den and grabbed these iron bars and cleaned up some of the cobble I had placed while fighting the golem. Why, you may ask? Well, I kind of want to move my base down here at the bottom of the volcano, and I'd like it to look as nice as possible. I remembered I had all of that sand from earlier, and I got a cool idea. I wanted to make the floor of the volcano glass, so I could see the lava through it. So I put my sand in the furnace and went on an expedition to get some more coal. I made it up to the top of the volcano and did a little exploring while I was here. It had been a long time since I was up here last. I did eventually return down to the bottom of the volcano, and I quickly got to work on placing down some glass. And after placing the glass that I had, I ran back up to the top of the volcano to get a bunch of dirt. There are some farms I'd really like to set up in my base, and there isn't much dirt down here, so I needed to grab a bunch of it. And watching back the footage, I realized how awful this looked, and don't worry, I do change the design later on. But in the moment, I was loving this. But since I was out of glass, I started placing down some stone bricks. This will be the foundation that I'll build my house on. I spent the rest of the day placing down some dirt for farmland and planted all of my potatoes and wheat seeds. Then it was time to start building. I made my house out of warped fungus, and it was a very basic design, but it works. I didn't need anything super fancy, but now that I think of it, it was a really bad idea to build my house that is inside of a volcano out of wood. Oh well, I guess I got pretty lucky. I spent a bit of time building this house up, and then it was time to move in all of my stuff. I even added in this level 30 enchant setup. Then for safety measures, I added in a cobblestone wall outlining my platform. This is just to make sure I don't fall off of the edge, because let's face it, we could all see this happening to me. The next bit of time was just spent moving items from my old base into my brand new house, and after most of the things were settled, I spent a lot more time farming. I still don't have a super steady food source, so I made sure to make a pretty big farm where I can grow wheat and potatoes. Then I decided to head into the Nether. I went to get some cool blocks to build with, like basalt and blackstone. And almost as soon as I made it into the Nether, I caught on fire and almost died. Lovely. But I didn't die, and I took my time adventuring through the Nether and searching for a fortress again. I had absolutely no luck, and I was in here for 3 days. I eventually had to leave the Nether when I ran out of food. But luckily for me, my farm had grown while I was gone, so I had crops to harvest and eat. I spent a long time farming and replanting all of my wheat and potatoes, and even expanded the farm a bit. By the time I was done this, I had a load of potatoes. So I set up a super potato smelter. This area had plenty of furnaces to cook them. But until these potatoes are all cooked, I am living off of bread. And the next day, I set up a small tree platform where I can grow all of my trees. After this was done, I did a little organizing and wanted to figure out what this upgrade core can do. So I looked around in the mod pack and was immensely confused. After messing around with it a bit more, I realized the core plates are used for upgrading gear. So I was able to upgrade my dark helmet into a Titan shroud helmet in the smithing table. I tried upgrading some other things, but nothing worked. By the time I had done this, all of my trees had grown, so I spent a while chopping them down, and then noticed that my potatoes were fully cooked, and I now had a much more stable food source. Now that I had food and good weapons and armor, I was ready to venture out of the volcano. There is an entire island surrounding it that I haven't explored yet, so I grabbed plenty of potatoes, a water bucket, and a bed, and went off. While I was climbing the volcano, I noticed a zombie villager and got really excited. If I could heal him and have a villager, this would be huge. I ran back to my base and brewed together a weakness potion and even grabbed a golden apple to heal him. but by the time I had returned, the zombie had despawned. This is the worst feeling in Minecraft. But hey, I had an island to explore, so I continued on. Once I got to the top of the volcano, I started venturing out away from it. I quickly found a beach and started running along it. I also decided to go for a nice swim. I haven't seen this much water in a while. I spent the night upon this giant octopus and then decided to turn my shader pack back on. This makes the world look way better. Being away from the volcano, I could see just how massive it really is. I still can't believe I'm living in a volcano. I spent a long time running around the island, and out of nowhere, I saw ender dragons. What is going on here? I did a little reading and realized there is a dragon saddle I can craft and tame them with. So I ran back to my base to craft one. The recipe was simple. I just needed orc skin and iron nuggets. After crafting the saddle, I went back and found a dragon. Just one problem. This is a baby dragon and I need it to be all grown up before I can tame it. So I set up a house in this tree stump and waited. After a little while, the dragon was finally full grown and I was able to tame him. He ate some orc skin and then I was able to put my saddle on. I think I'll name him Ralph. Be sure to say hi Ralphie in the comments section and he might just reply. Okay, now it was time to take a flight with Ralph. I hopped on his back and away we went. We flew around the island and over the volcano that I call home. This was insane. I did not see my day going this way, but I'm sure glad it did. After flying for a while, I decided to land on top of the volcano and go get some supplies to make Ralph a new home. I went straight to the Nether and grabbed a ton of Blackstone and even a bit of magma blocks. Then I went and got Ralph again. We kinda just jumped into the volcano and hoped for the best. I mean, if something goes wrong, he can just fly us away. Then I spent the next few days creating him the coolest cave ever. I am definitely going to add on to it, but I gotta say, it's pretty cool in the moment. I noticed my pickaxe was breaking, so I crafted a new one and enchanted it. I got Fortune 3, but no efficiency or unbreaking. I enchanted some books, hoping to get lucky, but I didn't get any high-level enchants. So I needed some more XP. I headed to the best place I could think of to get some XP, the Nether. I was here for a while, exploring and mining quartz. And then I finally returned home to make myself this awesome pickaxe. All I need to add to it now is unbreaking. Then I spent some time cleaning up the volcano. There were a ton of these floating islands around here that I removed because, well, I'm not playing Skyblock. This made everything look a lot more open and just nicer all around. Then I thought of some other things I could do to make the area look nice. The first thing I thought of was to replace the glass, but I didn't feel like going around breaking all of the glass blocks I had just placed. So I put Blackstone bricks on top of them. I used slabs to save myself a ton of blocks. This took a little while, but eventually I covered an amount of glass that I was happy with, and the base of the volcano was really coming along. Well, almost. I wanted to block out the rest of the lava that I could still see. So I got to work on constructing a barrier. I made this out of warped logs, and I think it came out okay. The next day, something crazy happened. It's almost like I had been visited by Santa. I woke up to multiple villagers right outside of my house. I wasted no time in building a makeshift villager breeder. It's definitely a downgrade from some other villager breeders I've built, but that's okay. I spent some time breeding my villagers and then got myself a farmer and started leveling him up with potatoes. Potatoes were basically the only thing he wanted, so I did a lot of farming over the next few days. Eventually, he was leveled up fully. The next villager I got, I decided to get a mending book from. But he wanted to live with Ralph the dragon. So inside of Ralph's home, I worked with this villager until he gave me a mending trade. I got myself a few mending books and was very happy. I did a lot more farming over the next few days to make more emeralds and even get some XP. Then I started ranking up another farmer villager. I realized I had nowhere to house all of these new villagers, so I needed to build them a village. I grabbed the leftover blocks I had from building my base and got to work on extending the platform of Blackstone slabs. But when I ran out of blocks, I realized I needed to head back into the Nether to get some more. I was here for a long time, getting all sorts of blocks that I needed. I got loads of wood, and while I was cutting these trees, I decided to grab some of these shroom lights as well. They look really, really cool. When I made it back to my base, I added some upgrades to my axe, the most exciting one being mending. I also named my axe after one of you guys who comment on my videos. I got back to work on extending the platform. I wanted this village to be as roomy as possible. I also added in this outline to the edge of the platform. And when this was all done, it was time to get started on building some houses. I had loads of nether blocks to choose from. Like, I grabbed a ton of blocks from the nether. I also added in this little wheat farm, and I made sure to build everything in this village out of blocks found in the nether. I fell in love with this style. I tried to design some of the builds I built off of what an actual village in Minecraft looks like, and I think it came out okay. As a finishing touch, I added some of these lanterns in the village and then welcomed the villagers to their new home. After finishing up on this village, I decided to take Ralph out for a nice flight around the island. I was mainly looking for any other dragons I could find to keep him company. I didn't find any, but the island sure was beautiful to look at, and we enjoyed flying over the volcano and taking in all of the scenery. When I got home, I harvested my tree farm and headed into the nether. I really want to go to the end, and to do so, I need some blaze rods from a fortress. I searched for another few days, but still no fortress. I traveled countless blocks and still nothing. I've never had this much trouble finding one before. I headed back to my volcano very sad. Then I added in all of my expensive blocks into Ralph's cave. This is much better than them sitting in a chest collecting dust. I wasn't really sure what to do with the rest of my time in this world. The days were coming to a close. So I built this random statue I found on Google in my village. It's supposed to be a Minecraft character holding a wooden log above his head. This made for a pretty cool village centerpiece. Then I spent some more time farming. I don't think I could ever film a 100 days video without farming. It's just so fun. Out of nowhere, I noticed something was a little different about Ralph's cage. I saw some hay bales and headed over to check it out. It wasn't just hay. It was a dragon's nest. Ralph had laid an egg. A creeper snuck up on me and blew up. Luckily, the egg was fine. I grabbed a torch to safely grab the egg and placed it down in a nice safe spot. I really hope this thing hatches and we have baby dragons. That would be insane. Before I knew it, it was day 100. I couldn't believe I just survived 100 days in a volcano. Today, I just celebrated my survival and did absolutely nothing. And that, my friends, is how I survived 100 days in a volcano in hardcore Minecraft. If you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to smack a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't yet done so. I really want to hit 300,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Also, guys, be sure to join the Discord for my new Minecraft server coming out soon. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you later. Peace.